Morning, Dine Jackie. Welcome to my show. So today we're going to South Africa again. If you've got a drink or anything, please grab a drink. Let's talk. A woman called Mpho Maruping gave a chilling account in court about a murder. Mpho said that she and her husband on the 18th of October 2007 were in Sandton at a timeshare meeting. And while they were there, her husband Thabo kept receiving phone calls. And then he later arranged to meet 3 other men in the city of Johannesburg. So the 4 men, all of them, they drove off together in a Polo. And Mpho herself drove home because they had a different car, a red bakkie. So later, they all returned to Mpho Maruping's house, all the 4 men. But then when they came, Thabo, Mpho's husband, asked for the keys to the red car, the bakkie that she had driven. So Mpho asked them why they were taking that car when they already had another car. When she looked out, she saw that the Polo the men were driving had been damaged. So her husband's explanation was that a taxi had run into them while they were at a filling station. Mpho said that her husband and the other men who were Mlanga, Goa and Mabe drove off in 2 different cars. Apparently they took the bakkie, they took 2 good cars and left the bad car at home. She had no idea what really happened with that car. After that, the next day, her husband in the night called his friend and asked him to bring back their car. Because when he took the car with his friend, he left the car at his friend's house. So he called his friend to say, "Can you bring back my car?" And the guy returned the car, and Thabo still had to take the guy back home. It was just a mess with the cars, one car coming, another car going, one car broken, somebody had hit the car. Mpho had no idea what was really going on. It was just a mess around the cars. She went out, and when she came back, she thought her husband would be ready to go out because they intended to go to the mall. But instead, he was glued to the TV. He was watching TV. So she asked him why he wasn't ready and said, "Why aren't you ready? I thought we're going out to the mall." But he said he just wanted to see what's on TV, if it is about last night's murder. Paul was quite surprised to say, "What are you talking about? What murder?" When they were watching the TV, she saw that they were talking about a famous musician, reggae musician, Lucky Dube. They were saying that he had been killed the day before. So she sat down too because she thought, wow, that's strange. It was alarming for everybody at the time. After the TV program, that's when Thabo turned around and told his wife how Lucky Dube had been murdered. According to Mpho, she said that her husband told her that he and the 3 other men drove around Rosettenville and then they stopped. They were looking for a car to steal, and their main target was a Chrysler C300. They were just lurking around looking for a car to hijack and steal. Right? Car thieves, basically. At first, they roamed around one area, they saw nothing, and then another area, and they were getting tired because they were not seeing the kind of cars that they wanted to hijack and steal. They just happened to see a Chrysler 300C come into view, and then it stopped. So Mlanga and Goa got out of the Polo that they were in and ran towards the car. Thabo, the husband, said that he remained in the car, he didn't go out. It was the other 2 men, and that's when they heard a gunshot. In the car, another guy he was with told him to go and see what was going on. Thabo went to the Chrysler and he put his hands on the roof and looked inside. And then apparently a second gunshot rang as he went back to the Volkswagen. And then the 2 men, Mlanga and Goa, returned and told him to drive off. And he drove off. So Mpho said that she asked her husband, so why was Lucky Dube shot? Her husband said that he did not see that it was Lucky Dube. He actually thought it was a Nigerian. So they said that basically it was a mistake. If they had known it was him, they wouldn't have shot him, which doesn't make sense anyway because they're not supposed to shoot anybody to begin with. Mpho said that she asked her husband why. He went out again on the night of the shooting. He took the bakkie and returned to the scene of the crime to see whether anyone had seen them and to see what was going on. And after that, they took the car, which had collided with a taxi or something. They took it to a body shop to get it fixed. Lucky Dube was one of the all-time greatest musicians. Lucky Dube was a South African reggae musician and Rastafarian. He was born on 3rd August 1964. He was the only African to receive at the time the best-selling African musician prize at the 1996 World Music Award at the time. Apparently, he was called Lucky because his mother had problems conceiving a number of times, and when he was finally born, she gave him the name Lucky because that's how she felt, that he was luck to her and he was just lucky. His parents separated just soon after he was born, so because his mother had to work, he was sent to live with his grandmother. So he was basically raised by his grandmother. Lucky discovered the Rastafari movement while he was in school, and at the age of 18, he joined his cousin's band, the Love Brothers, so he played for them. The kind of music they played was Zulu pop, known as Makanga. They managed to sign a record deal, and together with his cousin, they ended up releasing songs in the Afrikaans language.
Reggae music came to me in 1984 because all along I was playing this Bakanga, but it's only in 1984 that I changed and do reggae. Now the thing is, back home, since Bakanga was the very popular kind of music, so any band, any upcoming band was doing the same kind of music. Like when you live in Jamaica, you know reggae music being the only kind of music that you can play. So it happened to me in that way. Back home I played in Bakanga, but after some time, in 1984, this kind of music became somewhat, people get bored because of this music, because every band was playing it. And so I thought I should try and sing something fresh, something that the people don't know about, something that will come to them as something new, that will make them listen to me. And so it was only possible through reggae, because no one was doing reggae in South Africa before I started. The first album I made in reggae was called Rastas Never Die.
Says he was inspired by the likes of Jimmy Cliff and Peter Tosh and ended up getting so into reggae when he decided to try a new musical genre in 1984, and he released a mini album, Rastas Never Die. It didn't sell very well compared to what he used to sell before, but he didn't stop, he carried on. He released a second album called Think About the Children in 1985, and that one achieved platinum sales status and established Lucky Dube as a popular reggae artist in South Africa and across Africa. In 1989 alone, he won 4 OKTV awards for Prisoner, Captured Alive, Captured Live, House of Exile, and his music was basically the sound of Africa. His music takes you back in time. Lucky was a freedom fighter. He was a voice for the voiceless. He sang to entertain, he sang to teach, he sang to inspire, and he sang to bring change and fight for those who had no voice. Lucky Dube was married and had a son and a daughter. On 18 October 2007, Lucky took his children. He was dropping them off at their uncle's house. So he was driving one of his cars, a Chrysler 300C. On his way, he was targeted by carjackers. 2 approached his car and he was shot in front of his children. And as Lucky Dube tried to escape with his life, he drove the car away and unfortunately it hit a tree. He was shot twice and then he died instantly. The men escaped. After they escaped, they came back just to see what's happening, and they came back to see if anyone recognized him. Their excuse for killing him was that they actually mistook him for a Nigerian. They thought he was a Nigerian driving a Chrysler 300C, and they thought they could kill him and take his car. I don't know how that makes that even an excuse. But at the end of it, the world lost an icon. The world lost an inspiring voice. And 3 men that were actually caught and arrested were convicted and sentenced to life in prison. And that is how Lucky Dube met his end. He was only 43 years old. Thank you.